So, hello and welcome everyone to the fourth of our Funded Trader webinar series. Today we have Scott Pulcini in for you to teach you all about his funded accounts, how he's passed them, and how to pass them for yourselves. If you could go to the next slide, please, Scott. So just before we begin, we're going to have to go through the risk disclosure and general disclosure. So general disclosure, all Bookmap Ltd materials, information and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading
150 contracts.
involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
346 contracts.
If you could go to the next slide, please, Scott. So here we are. Welcome to the session with Scott Pulcini on how to become a funded trader. Next slide, please, Scott.
Order filled.
So Scott has been trading for over 20 years. During the years of 2002 to 2005, Scott was responsible for trading about 10% of the S&P E-mini futures volume. Scott now focuses on trading both equities and futures. He's an expert scalper and has an innate ability to read the order flow and volume within price patterns. If you'd like to get in contact with Scott, obviously you've got his Discord account here that you can contact him through. He also has his own room within the Bookmap Discord server. So if you head to #Scott Pulcini, Futures Scott Pulcini, that is his text room. And he also streams live with us at this time every single week. You can also visit his website, scottpulcinitrader.com, or find him on Twitter at Scott Pulcini TR1. And just some news before we go. If you go to the next slide, please, Scott. Thank you. So just some news before we begin as well. So you've got a few beta programs running at the moment. We've got a multi-count add-on, new Market Pulse Pace of Tape, a new Market Pulse Web with a new heat map. If you'd like to get involved with any of these betas, please email beta@bookmap.com and get in contact and state what add-on you would like to try out, and we'll get it sorted for you. Also, we've got the new Blue Jacket competition this month. Every single month we run the Blue Jacket content competition. I'll post the link for that in the chat in a second. Effectively, show us your best content pieces on Bookmap, and you could stand a chance to win up to 3 months of Global Plus with stocks or futures data, 1 month Discord Nitro, and a 1-1 with Tom B of Tom B's Lab. And so over to you now, please, Scott. If you could just bring up Bookmap and show us what you've got.
Yeah, so quickly, this is not the trading room. I mean, this was literally 4 years ago. I don't know why that's in there. My trade room is, you just go to my website. Any idea why that's there, Dan?
No idea. I'm afraid I must have taken it from an old slide. Very sorry. I'll quickly edit that in for you.
Yeah.
And post the link.
So this is, you just go to my website, scottpulcinitrader.com, and you can see the options here for the trade room. But yeah, I haven't been in that. I was an instructor briefly for about 4 years ago. All right, guys, stuff's going crazy here. I was trying to get set up for this webinar, and I had trades on. I've got stops in and missed trades and the usual. So these equity markets, we'll go over the funding stuff here. That's what this webinar is about how to get funded and tips and tricks on the one I'm using with Apex, so on and so forth. I'll get to that here shortly. I just want to go over these markets because they're in very critical areas. Equities, you can see here, this is basically do or die land for both ES and Nasdaq. This is real close to a failed balance breakout of this longer term multi-week balance, or I'm sorry, not multi-week, multi-day. And then you got fractally of this one as well. So very, very, very important areas. These are the best trades in trading when markets try to break out of monster balance areas, don't go, and then do that. If that happens, this should happen the other way. Let me just give you a quick example of that look. That look. That's from Fletch, by the way. So this was a failed breakdown of natural gas. These are what markets should do when they have failed breakouts or breakdowns. This one tried to break out, stuttered at the high volume node, and then ripped off the page. I don't even have it. Speaking of off the page, it's way up here. So this is what markets are supposed to do when that happens, or what normally happens. So keep an eye on that, because this breaks this area. So just think of it in common sense terms, right? All the longs that were in here thought they had it. I mean, and this has been instant on top of it. Guys are sitting here whoever's holding on to their longs are literally holding their breath because this thing is about to do that, and all these longs say, oh my god, I thought I had it. Well, what happened in the Nvidia earnings? I don't get it. Okay, I gotta get the hell out. And there's not a lot of structure here till down here, so this could be a whopper move today. Again, just a thesis. I trade my volume events accordingly, how they come in. I actually got long this ES event. I got out of some at the yellow lug. I'll go over that here shortly. But you know, this is about to fail lower too. There are a couple stop runs, but I'm trading accordingly. Like I knew these markets were in very fragile land here. I took a long. If this fails, it's fine. I got out of some of them at the lug, and then at the yellow lug, I'll go over that here. Like I said, but it's telling you something. These volume events that turn bullish start to fail. Then when I get, like, if I get anything below basically where we're at here in the ES, this is the high volume node, I'm going to be taking double size shorts, and this has the same look as NASDAQ. So these are very critical areas right now. You know, a lot of times when markets break out, they do this exact juke move, right? They'll juke out of it. They'll come back to the high volume. They'll either come back to the top of balance and rip back, or they'll come to the high volume node and rip back. So right now, this is still not, warning Will Robinson material. But if this gets below, I'd say ES for this guy here. So this is the most recent balance inside the bigger balance, right? Just showed that. If it gets below, I'd say 5,900 is the line in the sand. If it breaks that, then I will be trading double size shorts, maybe triple size. And I know how hazardous that has been to one's account, trying to be short these ridiculously bungee jump markets, especially.
Stock by NQ, 151 contracts.
Especially, go ahead.
Prior CS long entered. CS long entered.
Experiencing issues getting your screen share. Would you be able to reshare your screen? I'm very sorry for having to interrupt you, Phil.
So I've just been talking this whole time without showing anything.
So no, I've got your screen share and I've got it recorded. Don't worry. But it's just a few of the users in the room struggling to catch up. So if you could just try resharing your screen, see if it'll make it easier for them, please.
Yeah, Is that working? Wait, hold on. You know why? Because I'm in the. Yeah, I see it. I see my screen on the shared. Do you guys see it or no?
NQ iceberg sell NQ 150 contracts.
Dan, do you see my screen?
So now it's broken for me, but it looks like it's working for everyone else. So as long as it's working for the audience, I'm happy with that personally. I can watch on YouTube. Thank you, though, Scott.
Okay, so it is working. So obviously, you guys didn't see what I was showing there. I'll show it again quickly here. Anyway, I'm still long ES. I got out of. I'll show you guys this here in a second. Then we'll go over all this other stuff. I gotta bring up my other computer here. Sorry guys, I was all rattled trying to get set up for this thing, sound checks and everything else. So I was long ES off that stop run, and again, these markets have not violated those areas yet, so I'm still leaning long, but if they break, it's going to be trouble. Anyway, I was long. I got long a slug stop run into the lug a little bit ago, and I got out of half there.
NQ long validated.
And I still have half. All right, so this stuff is hanging in there. You just heard the tick extreme too. So
HE short validated.
let's show this real quick. So this is the overall market. You see they just rip back. That's the NYSE tick, and this is the NASDAQ tick. That hasn't gone extreme yet, but you start seeing extremes, and watch out. So anyway, I am still long here. Yes, so this was the stop run into an important area. So this is how I trade, right? Get this stuff out here. I'm looking for volume events in my important areas. So this is one of my main important areas, these Ludwig levels. And we'll go over this. I'll put this stuff in the chat here too, that you can see everything I'm using. Anyway, this was the blue support lug at the time. You got the volume event, and I took that long. I got a half there, and I'm still long. I did form new lugs, but as long as this volume event doesn't violate to the downside, I'm still long. So that's that. And then you did have some other things here. Again, I was trying to get set up here, and you can hear that ringing. That means we're hitting tick extreme. So these markets are about to bungee jump like they always do. So I'm not short anything. I was ready to go short double size, but these areas held. You can see all this activity in NASDAQ. I wasn't able to do anything off of this because I was getting set up for this webinar. But you had sell ice, and then I combined these two, and then you had sell stops, buy ice. This is a double whammy. It's one of my 6 distinct setups that we'll go over. And then more buy ice, and then buy stops. Then you had sell ice. So there's this whole area is very, very important, and it's holding. And I just missed this long. And again, this was what I was showing.
NQ long validated.
That's what I was showing here. This market did exactly what it should do if it's going to remain bullish, right? This is the current balance area that I was saying is about to be violated, and you can see, and then this is the current balance, and it held exactly where it should have if these markets going to remain bullish, right? So many times when these markets go to break out, they do this juke move. They literally just crush all the weak longs, and then they turn around, and then it turns around and goes. So again, when that happens, important areas when it comes back are the top of balances or the high volume nodes of balances. So it held for now and put in a whopping buying tail. So this is telling you that it's probably going to go back to highs. Maybe. Okay. When I talk about this stuff, this is just a thesis. It's a guess based on structure and how the market's reacting. I use the real-time events to tell me if my thesis is right or wrong, right? So I missed the ISIs here. These are my inflection zones. The 4 important areas of charting. We'll get into that if we get a chance. Anyway, this was a zone. This was a zone. There was all that activity. I could have gone long there. I just was, again, getting ready for the webinar. So that's all this, and that is just ripping off the page. So hopefully you guys saw that, especially members of my trade room. This was pretty clear cut, especially with the buy ice, and then this was a bullish event too. So another thing I want to check, this is algo guy. This is what we use to confirm. You can see here, we come up with thesis on different aspects. I use pretty much 4 different things. I use the structure that I just showed you, Ludwig levels, market profile, composites, and then algo guys. So you can see this thing did pull, and you had the blue is the shorter term exponential moving average ribbon, and the red is the longer term. So when the blue is below, it's bearish, and when it's above, it's bullish. Well, you can see this just crossed, and now that is looking bullish too, as far as because you got algos that trade this thing. That's why we watch it. That's why we call it algo guy. So it is bullish. I do have a chance to maybe go long here, different strategies. So I have different strategies that I take based on my important areas, and that is this list. Don't be confused, especially if you come in my trade room. This is not meant to trade every one of these. These are all the ones in my head, and there's many more to come. I have a course that's about to come out on this stuff too. You guys will get an email if you're part of my email list when this comes out. But the point is, like, if you're watching this webinar or you come in my room, this does not mean you get in here and you trade every single one of these strategies, right? You pick 2 or 3, 1, 2, or 3, you get really good at it, and then you add them as you get better on understanding the SI events and how to trade them, so on and so forth. So don't be confused with all of these, and these are more advanced as we get in here. I'll go over the ones I take, but there's a ton of them. So it's for you guys to take what I'm doing and say, yeah, that makes sense. That doesn't make sense. I'm going to trade this one. I'm not going to trade that one, right? That's all that is. And those are my important areas. Anyway, I did miss the ISI long here, and I'm going to combine these 2 zones. This is a double whammy here. This is the Scotch zone drawing tool as well. I will put that in here. So we'll go over this quickly, and then I'll go over the funded trading stuff. I just want to, traders come on here on Thursdays to actually see the trading activity too. So I'm going to cover this stuff first, and then we'll get into it. We have an hour and a half, so I can cover everything. All right, so anyway, this is the criteria for a bark and potential lick trade, where the market pushes an ATR out, and then I wait for the retest, and then if it comes back, I put on bark and lick. These are these trading strategies. Probably the most active one, right? So you see bark, blind, ATR, retest, confirmed. So it's basically some of these strategies that are important areas, like we saw the inflection zones and market profile composite and things like that. Those are Ludwig levels. Those are important areas. Well, a bark and a lick, basically we're just still taking advantage of these volume events coming in, right? But I don't get into them aggressively, meaning first move out. I wait for an ATR, retest, confirm, right? So the reason I do that is because the edge is inherent in these volume events, right? So I still want to take advantage of the volume events when they come in, but I do need to see that criteria along with algo guy in my favor to take those trades. So we're waiting for a retest there, and again, I'm still long ES
at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time.
But this is telling you something too, right? We already know this is an important area, so this is what I was showing for when you guys couldn't see the screen.
Build of 42 BCF.
Markets are hanging in there right now,
from ECB's Lane, who participates in the
real
panel in
close
Amsterdam.
to fail
We also
balance
expect
breakouts. You can
comments
see
from
it
ECB's
held the
Elderson,
top
who
of that
speaks
guy
in
and
Nicosia.
bounced. Right, so if this guy fails, again, line in the sand's 5,900, and that's pretty much the high volume node, or the bigger one too. High volume node is just where the area in a balance area where most of the trade occurred. then I'm going to be looking for volume events that are bearish,
According
and
to a
I'm going
White
to take
House
double size
spokesperson,
because
the US
the
fundamentally
real-time volume
rejects the
events,
ICC
what I'm showing
decision
you
to
here,
issue arrest
are in the
warrants
direction
for
of my
Israeli
thesis. A
officials.
thesis is just a guess. It's not me just throwing on trades because I think something's going to happen. I don't trade that way. I let the volume events tell me what's happening. See the difference? And if they're in the direction of my thesis, then I trade bigger. That's all I'm doing. All right, so what I was getting at, this is telling you something, and we do have a trade for this. I don't want to go over too many strategies because people are confused enough. But, if a market can make it the ATR out of the 5-minute ATR out, and then it does it again and again, basically two times or more, and it can't go, it's telling you something, and we have a trade for this. If this breaks the zone again, then we have a trade where you can get in right through at the end of the other side of the zone. So I'm not going to really go over that trade right now because it's brand new, but the point is, if that happens, it's telling you something's up, that this is not holding, right? And you got all these options levels here. Let's just take a quick look at the options activity, see if we have any support. So this is trace. I'll go over all this stuff, but you can see it bounced in this blue. These are where options dealers are hedging their options, and it did bounce, right? So for now, and that's basically into this 5,900 level, and then you got a couple more down here. If this stuff breaks, so this is where it gets really, I want to say interesting. It gets good, right? So when I'm using my stuff for how I view markets and the structure, and then, again, this is not rocket science. This is just basic understanding of when traders are caught and they are wrong, they got to get out. Well, that is looking bearish. And then when you use this options activity from Spot Gamma, and I'm going to show you a new one too we're using, it's called Mentor Q. It shows you all the options levels for all these different markets. I'm actually doing a webinar with him on Monday. I'll post that link too. But when these areas start to break, well, that's telling you a different thesis for that aspect of it, right? So if these things start to break, that's basically I know that balance area I just showed you. And you got dealers hedging their to the downside. You're probably gonna get a very, very big move. So keeping an eye on that. It's holding its head for right now. Here's a retest of that NASDAQ zone. So if this bounces back out of here, I'm going to take longs. We do have a new event. So the way we trade it is I'm always defaulting to the most recent event, right? Because it's the most recent thing that happened in the market. As long as this doesn't prove bearish, then I can still take longs off of that guy, right? So that, and this is the zone drawing tool. I'll put this in here in a second. You guys can get access to this. It makes it so much easier. And if you guys have been on my webinars for the last 8 years, I had to draw these things by hand. Well, a guy in my trade room, a trader in my trade room, developer, Johan, very bright, figured out a way to draw this subchart activity. Let me get this out because I don't want to confuse you guys with this other stuff right now. We'll maybe get into it. That's Market Pulse. Anyway, it draws this stuff onto the charts. You don't have to do it manually, and it tells you, based on my rules of watching 4.2 million of these things, the best way to enter and exit, right? So the yellow lines would be the entry, and then the exit, the stop, meaning the stop is way down here. So the reason I do that is to stay away from these algos that love to whipsaw people, right? So we'll go over these trades as they happen. If this thing turns bearish, then this long is off the table that I was going to take. This is exactly why I wait for this pattern. I don't just jump in when I see this activity most times, depending on the strategy, because I've just watched so many of these and I know I need to do that. So now this just proved to be a bearish event. So the longs I was talking about are off the table. Now I could potentially go short here. So let's see what we got going on. I'm telling you, these markets are in deep doo-doo land if this stuff breaks, right? This is it right here, in my opinion. This is just thesis, right? But if I start getting volume events a little lower here, I wouldn't do it off of this one as far as a short. I would short if it comes up for a short for my strategies, but I'm not going to trade double size. Anything below here, I'm trading double size shorts. And you can see, just imagine, look at all this activity that was here too, right? This is why this stuff is so important. If you're just staring at a bar chart, you have no idea this stuff happened. There are so many invested traders in this area. Sell ice, buy ice, sell stops. When sell stops come in, there's somebody absorbing those, right? So the point is, this area is extremely important, and this is fuel. When it moves out of this area, you're going to get a big move very likely, and that's what we take advantage of. So anyway, this turned out to be a bearish event. It tagged the ATR below, that blue line. That's part of the zone drawing tool as well. And let's see if this flipped again. Yeah, it sure did. So this is getting real interesting, and I am a very big fan of shorting. hasn't been very popular lately. But it just, just because things seem so nonsensical from the fundamental view, so every time I see shorts, I get very, very excited. So anyway, algo guy is flipped. Now I can take barks and licks off of this guy here. And then let's see if we got anything else as far as areas, aka trading strategies, I can take shorts off of. Nothing market
US
profile
says they're
composite right
discussing
now.
the next steps with
Keep an
Israel
eye on
on
this
the
area. So
ICC
this is just a
warrants.
different look. It's 2560 if it breaks through there. So this is already telling you something, right? It tried to get in this old one, couldn't make it to the other end. That's what it should do. We talk about things that should happen, and then it fell right back out. And then it got in this guy. What should happen? It should make it to the other side. Well, that's about to happen. If it breaks out of here, watch out for that. We already have new lugs, right? Ludwig levels, and that's looking bearish as well. So keeping an eye on Armageddon here. So, speaking of Armageddon, this is why the rallies have been so nonsensical. It's like we're on the brink of World War III and the market rallies. It's just like it just makes no sense. So it just pleases me when these when these longs get their asses handed to them. And guys, the other thing you want to watch for too, as far as thesis, when you get these outsized moves like this fast, just imagine if you're the buyer in here, right? You're like, Nvidia beat earnings, blah blah blah. Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, I want to be long. I'm gonna catch this falling knife. Well, this happens so fast. There are so many traders underwater here. It's going to be very hard for this thing to overtake this entire bar. If it does, it wouldn't surprise me based on it basically does it every time. But I'm talking right now action. This could be a whopper down move today. That's all I'm saying to watch. It hasn't violated yet, but it's real close. All right, so I don't really have any shorts here that I could have put on aggressively. For my strategies, I want to see this come back, or else we'll wait for the next event, right? Why am I not? I'm not hearing these events, and then this is another event here. So what I was waiting for here was a bark and a lick short, but this is a new event, and we always default. So if that tags this ATR, then that's a bullish event, so that's off the table. So I can still do it off of here. Now off of this event, if I get barks and licks, I'm taking double size because that has basically violated that area I just talked about. Again, guys, I'll get into the Apex or the trader funding stuff in the Apex here in a second. I just wanted to go over this because, we've been sitting in months and months of crappy trade, and we're finally getting some good trade, and I just want to be on top of it. All right, so this will alert me if that happens. I guess my volume was down. I didn't hear anything. So you always want to have this set up too. So, especially with the zone drawing tool, it'll tell you when this stuff and the subchart stuff. It'll tell you when the zones validate, when you get to new events. In case you don't hear it, you can see it. And how you get to that is you go to this, and I'm short soybeans too, by the way. We'll get into that eventually if we can. So you go to File, Alerts, and then that's when you get this guy. All right, let me post this in here. Again, I still have half a position long on ES, and I got out of half at the yellow lug. I showed you guys that. If I get stopped out here, which is about to happen, then it's fine, and I'm ready to fire on the short side. If I start getting short events, I don't just jump in. I won't trade short off of this event because it already validated long.
1 minute remaining.
What's in 1 minute? Oh, natural gas numbers coming out too. So anyway, like I said, this is telling you something. It tagged the ATR twice, and it couldn't go. Broke the zone. Everything is looking like these markets are going to get absolutely destroyed today. So we'll see. Again, I wait for my volume events. I can't do anything off of this to the short side. But trust me, this moves a little lower. We're getting new events, and we'll trade it. All right, let me
S&P stop sell
just like that.
500 to contracts.
Here come the Pukarooskies. So okay, guys, this happened so fast. There are so many traders underwater here that tried to buy this coming back. I mean, it did. They're in trouble, and this is it. This violates here. Bye-bye. Adios. So, just my thesis.
10 seconds.
New event. Algo guy's bearish. So, at minimum, we have bark and lick strategies on the table for this guy. And let's see where else we're at here. Yes.
Draw 3 BCF. Draw 3 BCF.
So
lower than the expected build of 1 BCF.
This is not bullish at all. Right? Market tried to break up out of here. Back inside. What do you expect? The other side. Doesn't mean directly, but it should make it at least down to here based on normal patterns. If for some reason it recovers, which would not surprise me, so just waiting for a surprise Fed guy to come out and say something bullish like they always do. But say this rips back out, well then I'll change my tune. But right now this is looking in deep doo-doo. All right, so there's nothing for me to short besides bark and licks off of this particular event. Anywhere at the high volume noted here. So the only thing I can really put on short-wise right now off of this are barks and licks, but I just don't jump in. I'm waiting for the same pattern to the downside we were looking to the upside of NASDAQ. I want to see the ATR. I want to see a retest, confirm, and then I put on those trades. So then on the flip side, if this holds, I can possibly go long here. We're not really in an Izzy zone though, so again, I'm just looking for my important areas. We have the volume event, now I look for important areas. We're in between these inflection zones, right? So there's nothing to do there, and there's nothing to do on market profiles. So for me, for my strategies, there's nothing to go long off of this event if this does prove bullish. So we'll keep an eye on those. It's kind of settling down, so let me post this stuff real quick. This is my... so this is everything I use. There's a drawing tool. We'll go over all these. Here's my course that goes over the 6 distinct setups. Spreadsheet, if you guys want, you get this free in my trade room. But if you want to, if you can't get in the trade room,
So US natural gas futures extend gains after the EIA report a surprise storage draw.
Natural gas is just ripping off the page. Here, let me post this in here. It'll be in the chat in here. I'm not going to post it to YouTube today because Dan and Bookmap, they want everything in the Discord room, so it's in there. If you can't see it, just go to my, you can contact me here for any questions or anything you need. All right, so while these markets are doing, just kind of sitting here, I'm waiting for retests of these zones, especially this one, because this one's already proven to be a bearish event, right, to tag the ATR. I'll start going over this funded trader stuff. And I'm waiting for Bruce, too, because it'll help with the questions and stuff, because it's hard for me to answer questions or look at the questions while I'm trading, obviously. So this is tick strike, so this will let us know if these things are going crazy. Just helps judge, especially when we're going to get out, take profit on some of the trades, so on and so forth. I don't have anything on right. The only thing I have on is long. I'm short soybeans. So if you guys watched my
NQ iceberg sell NQ 150
right, so we got
contracts.
Another volume event here is sell ice. So another thing too, right? So we have thresholds for these volume events, right? 150 is the normal threshold for NASDAQ, meaning I won't trade if you get a spike, on the SI indicator. If it's got to be at least 150 for me to trade. Well, there's certain days where 150 fires off non-stop. So when you see these types of days, 150 is not an adequate. It's still going to draw the zones because it's set for 150, right? The zone drawer. I would not be trading off 150s today because you can just see what 389 sell ice. This was
CL long validated.
I want to be long CL too. That's one of the things I've been talking about. Almost 400 sell stops. Over 400 sell stops. And you had some more sell ice here. This looks like it's over close to 400 or close to 300. So I would not be using 150s today, right? As far as tradable events, I would be using a minimum 250. That's what this is. So we will use this. So quickly, this is a variation of what, I could still take barks and licks off of this guy, right? As long as the newest one doesn't prove bullish. How do you know that? Well, if it pushes an ATR out of here, which is this line, the long validation line, right? So there's a way now too, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to trade this double size too. If I get a bark and lick here, I'm trading double size. We've already gone over it. There's a way I can put that one on, and then if this holds and proves bearish, I can add to it and trade off of that one. And I'm just moving my stop there. So my stop for this one was up here, where we're moving to the most recent event, and we'll trade it there, or move it there. So we'll let that develop, and I'm looking to do double size because these markets are in big trouble. All right. So quickly, what I was saying, I just want to cover this real quick, guys, because I don't want to miss trades on here. This is a crude. I tried to go long once here. I think I just got stepped out, but here's another stop run into that important Izzy zone. If this comes back out of here, I'm going to take an Izzy long. And if you guys watched I did a markets to watch yesterday. I didn't get a chance today. This is exactly, in both markets that I covered yesterday, it's happening today, right? It was a day off, but it was just a thesis of what was going on. You can see this thing broke out. What's it doing? It's just pulling back to the top. We already talked about that, right? So that looks very bullish. I will take double size longs all the way up until this. If this fails, this high volume node of this, then I will change my tune. But until then, I'm taking double size longs. And then this guy, you had a failed balance breakdown yesterday of that too. So this looks very, very bullish as far as a thesis, meaning any volume events that I get bullish, I'm going to take double size longs. Right. So if this, and it still hasn't tagged this, so 69.94.
Long retested.
I will take a long Izzy, and he had a couple other things too. Red rum. You see a volume event in the red ribbon. This is just another trading strategy, right? So I've got a couple different longs I can take here if this comes back, and I can take barks and licks. I got 4 different trading strategies I can take here. Hold on one second, guys. Okay. 4 different trading strategies long here if this comes back. 69.94 bark, lick. Lick is just trading the liquidity. It's a bark trade trading liquidity. You can see liquidity up there. And then the red rum and Izzy. There might be one more here. Let's see. So again, I'm talking about all my areas that I look for these trades. So I'm just quoting these trades off of here. Let's see if we got a pick too. Not quite a pick. Pick is just a profile of volume event at the market profile composite. Right. So that's not there, but we got 4 other strategies we can put on here. So 69.94, I'm going long all of them, and I'm going long double size. Let me set these up real quick, and then we'll get into the Apex stuff. 94 is bark lick. So what I'm doing is I have different strategies for these Apex accounts, which I'm going to go over. I'm just putting the orders in right now. Hold on here, 136. Let me put it on my live accounts as well. All right, those are working. So we'll come back to that. You did the retest of this guy. Right, so now barks and licks are on the table short, and I'm taking these double size shorts. There's your retest of that guy. This guy never proved bullish, so I can still put those on. That entry point was down here. It's on the zone drawing tool. So 25.07 quarter, I'm putting on barks and licks, and I'm trading them double size here. And this is a size, it tells you exactly too. The zone drawing tool based on the amount of risk you put, your capital and the risk you want to risk. We'll talk about this for Apex too. I'm risking 10% on these accounts. If you're trading your real size account or like your real money, do not be risking 10% on a trade. 2% max, or you're going to blow out your account eventually. It's 100%. All right, so let me put these in. I'm trading double size, 507 quarter.
Stops and Icebergs sells ES 200 contracts.
507 quarter. If I can find the market here. Hold on. This could get really interesting to the downside. I think I've said that about 10 times already. 507 quarter. All right, that's working there. Sorry guys, it's taking me. I gotta get this stuff in here. 507 quarter. Market like double size. Alright, those are all working. So then remember, if this also proves bearish, meaning tags this ATR line, I can do the same for that. Then I'll have like 4 times size on. That should be delightful if it bungee jumps. Alright, and then ES, this was a new event here. This has not proven. I stopped out of my original long. The rest of them I got out of half, like I said. But now I could put on barks and licks off of this guy too, depending on what happens here. All right, so we will cover that. I'll go over that as it happens. I just want to take a quick look at the hero here. This is the options activity. So not a ton of going on right here. And then I just want to see something with the internals. And then we'll go over the funded trader stuff. So this is kind of interesting, right? The markets are getting killed, and the total stock market overall is positive. So that tells me the Mag 7 stocks are getting smoked today, right? Which makes sense. I'm sure I don't have the video up. Actually, we can look at it on this other computer. So you can watch stocks here too, obviously. You need the DX data feed. So this is my other computer. Let's just take a look at these other Mag 7 stocks. So again, if the market's down this much or making this move, it's because of these other stocks, right? So here's Tesla. You see that's getting smoked. Let's see, I got a video here. Let's take a look at this puppy. Yeah, that's not what you want to see if you're long. So huge move, almost 10% back. So this is why these markets are getting killed. These are the heaviest weighted stocks in the indices at S&P and NASDAQ, right? So the overall market's up, this one's down. What does that also tell you? You're probably, even if you go, if I go short here, it's probably going to be a bumpy ride just because you're fighting the overall market too. But if that starts to turn over, then watch out. Armageddon. I shouldn't kid about Armageddon, considering we're about to be Armageddon. If we have World War III, that's probably not going to be a good thing for anybody, including the stock market. All right, so let's get into this, the funded trader stuff. I'm a little... discombobulated right here. All right, let's... All right, so I put together a little slideshow here. So these funded trading opportunities, websites, they've been popping up all over the place, right? So the very first one was like Top Step. That was 10 years ago. I was part of Top Step, so anyone knows my story. I was a multi-million-dollar trader, and then Algos took over. I was one of the top scalpers on the planet at the time. I was trading 10% of the world volume every day in the E-mini S&P. I was averaging 50,000 contracts a day. The average was 500,000 contracts, so I was 10%. I was that active in the market, and I was literally just flipping this order book back and forth, right? Playing the games that you see now, that's what I used to do. That's why I know, based on this is what all this stuff is about. It's not just my guess of what's happening. I know what's happening because it's how I used to react to markets, so on and so forth. So anyway, I got knocked out of the game, and then I hung on for a few years, tried to trade my own money. I wasn't backed anymore, and I had to get out of the business in 2013, right? So right before I left the business, I tried Top Step at the time, right? And back then they had all these ridiculous rules. It's like, okay, you do a combine and you qualify. Okay, you qualified, now you got to do a live combine. I'm like, well, I thought I wasn't a live combine, it's a live market. Then I qualified for that. Now you got to do a secret squirrel confirmation. I was just like, okay, this is a bunch of nonsense. These guys are just trying to take traders, the fees to get funded for the accounts, right? So fast forward to today. Now they're popping up all over the place, right? And some are already going down, and there's a reason for it. We'll get into that. So this is the number one bullet point here. The funded prop funding industry, that's not a very good run-on sentence, but sorry. It's changing due to upcoming regulations, right? So we'll get into some of the changes that Apex are making, and we'll go over. There's some confusion on what they're doing. I'll cover it the best I can, how I understand it, and I'm pretty sure. And it's good to hear another take than the regular guy that I'll show here. This dude, I basically took screenshots from his thing to tell you in my words what he's talking about here. But we'll get into all that. So anyway, upcoming regulations is the CME is they know all these funded traders, and there's some loophole in the funded trader industry right now where they don't have to put you into the live market. They can basically book your action. If you make money, they pay you, but it's not actually, you're not actually putting orders into the market. For some reason there's a loophole, and all these places are doing it right now, right? That's changing. Why? Well, there's lots of reasons, but the main reason is because I'm pretty sure, again, this is just my personal opinion, that the CME wants part of the action. A good analogy is, so I love horse racing, right? And there's this horse racing, they have these horse racing websites that they're tournament websites, right? So you get in and you join the tournament. The main one was Derby Wars. You get in these tournaments, and you're just in the tournaments, but your money's not going into the actual pari-mutuel pools for the tracks, right? Well, the tracks caught on real quick and said, you know what, we don't want you hosting tournaments with our races if we're not getting the money for the pari-mutuel action.
Stop filled.
Hold on, I just filled on a crude. All right, so long crude double size. Hopefully that's not to the tick fill. So this is what's great about the zone drawing tool. I got in at 94 and my stop's down at 48, and I do that for a reason, so I don't get upset. And I'm already starting to get filled with a tick. That's how accurate, you guys would not believe how accurate these levels are as far as like these algos. I mean, it's unbelievable. Especially lately, I've been getting filled with a tick about every time. So anyway, what I was getting at is these tracks wanted a part of the action. They're like, you're using our information. We're not making anything off of it. So Derby Wars kind of took a nosedive. They're still around, but they were much more active because the track said you have to start paying us. Same thing is happening with the funded prop trading industry. Again, my opinion, but it's pretty common sense. Hold on, I gotta see what the hell I'm filling here. What was that? Okay, yeah, so I'm long crude. Those strategies I talked about. So the CME is basically saying, we want part of the action. Well, if they're part of the action, you got to be live. So these funded trading companies now they're going to be bringing people live. So they're changing rules because now they have to actually back traders with real money, and they can't have traders coming in there like a video game, lotto ticket, just firing huge sides trying to qualify. You can still do it on the qualification, but once you go live, they have distinct rules because they have to protect their capital. Just think about it. If you're you have a trader you're backing, and they're just throwing huge size on trying for a windfall, and if they blow out, they blow out. What are you going to say? Yeah, beat it. I don't want to. I don't want to fund you, right? So we'll get into that a little bit here with the rules, but that's why the rules are changing, right? They're getting these funded trader companies, and one has already gone down. What's the name of it?
Prior and too long validated.
What's the name of it? If you guys know, tell me. Hold on. Let me check here. Just so you guys know, I don't think they're accepting money anymore anyway. Oh, it was called fast track trading. Already done. Blown out, right? So they're popping up, and so the other thing I was getting at too, like with Top Step and all these other ones, Top Step had all these ridiculous rules at the time, and once Apex came around, and that's the one I back. That's why I'm going to be talking about this, right? This is the one that I back because this is the one they've done everything that they said they're going to do from day one. As far as when you qualify, there's no nonsense. There's not you got to do a secret squirrel combine, so on and so forth. When you get paid, I've been paid multiple times. Traders in my trade room have been paid multiple times. I'll show you some of those examples. But this is the one I back, right? So the point is, once they got on the scene, all these other ones that had these ridiculous rules, they had to change. So even though firms like Top Step now are saying we're better, we got all these great rules, we don't have these stringent rules like Apex or whatever they're saying. Again, I don't follow them, but they're doing that because Apex changed the landscape, right? Whether they want to admit it or not, Apex is by far the biggest one, right? So they have funded. That's why I had this slide I wanted to show you, right? This is by far the biggest in the business, right? They $355 million they paid out. Last month alone, they paid $72 million, right? So again, I put my name behind this company, and this is the one I've used for 2.5 years. So that's why I'm highlighting that in this presentation. There are other ones out there. You should be doing your own research, but this is the one that I back. Hold on a second. So, obviously these markets are hanging in there right now. Another tick extreme. I just want to see if I could have gone long off it. I could probably go long here, Izzy. So I was ready to go short there. Actually, it was between those zones. We already covered that. So no long for me there. And I never did. So guys, this is exactly why. I don't mean to be jumping back and forth here, but we're covering a lot of stuff, right? And I do want traders that are on here for the actual trading aspect to know what's going on, right? So this is, you saw, what was I waiting for? I was going to go short. Did I go short? No, because I was waiting for that, then that. Did that get there? No. And actually now this is a bullish setup. I could have taken potential Izzy there, and then you have another event. So I never went short, and this is exactly why, right? I avoided a loser because I've watched so many of these. I know what I need to see to take the short. Didn't happen. These markets are holding on by the hair of their chinny chin chin for now. So let's just take a quick look here. I'm going to go back to the funding slides. So, that got through there. I'm still not convinced, but we just talked about, right? You got that guy, and you got that bigger one. That violated both those high volume nodes, right? So what should have happened? That should have happened. Doesn't mean it's not over yet.
That's
You know, if
11
this
a.m.
overtakes
Eastern time, we get Kansas City
this
Fed
one
Composite
and
Index,
this one and gets back
forecast
above, then I'll change my
-5,
tune. Right?
prime
It's still going to be hard to
-4,
get through all this
Kansas
activity
Fed
these guys I got run over. But the
prime
point is,
0.
you've got to
Also
be able to
expect
pivot in your
comments
trading
from
as far as
ECB
thesis,
Goldman,
right? Like
ECB's
something should have
president,
happened there. It
ECB's
didn't yet.
blue chip.
But that is the beauty. So if I'm just staring at this, right, I'm like, oh my God, this thing's done. I'm going short. That's all I kept saying, right? But I never went short. Why? Because I let the real-time volume events tell me. These actually said long. This is a broken ice event. This is a stop and run event. Or not yet. It has to touch this. What am I meaning by that? This is what I mean by that. One of my 6 distinct setups. So this is part of my course. So these are, oops, sorry. That right here, right? So these are the setups that I use. I look for these real-time events in my important area. So we just had in my important areas, aka trading strategies. So we saw broken ice. So sell ice came in NASDAQ there and got smoked. And now you potentially have a stop and hold where you get buy stop runs. This is just retail trader pukes most of the time that are usually fades. But if they hold, aka the stop and hold, that means there's bigger money behind there. So let me just see quickly if I want to take a long here. Very disappointing because I thought we were going to 0. This was an IZZY, right? So what did we have there? We had that sell ice. That just proved bullish. So I should be long this event right now. And I would have been long right here, so I'm going to go long IZZY. This sucks because I wanted it to go to 0, like I said, but the market doesn't really care what I want, right? Hold on here. All right, I'm long. I missed it by a couple points here. Well, actually more than a couple. It came back for me. I just couldn't get my order in quick enough. So this is what this line was for, right? So this was telling me if I'm going to go long, I needed to be long there. So I thought I'd get it. I got long, but I chased a little bit. So anyway, I'm long IZZY, right? Other than that, I don't think there was anything else here. Let me take a quick look. Again, apologies for jumping back and forth here, but we are trading real markets, and I apologize if I'm talking fast, so on and so forth. But I'm trading live, right? That was a damn. I didn't see that either. So that was yeah. There was an event at the. So this was another strategy. It's an I lug you, but it was sell ice at the blue lug, so I couldn't take that aggressively. I still could take it if we get a retest. So I'm just looking at different strategies that I could have put on long, right? I definitely had the IZZY, but if this. So this still could happen, right? If this comes back here and retest this, I could put on I lug you, which is just an event at the blue lug. These are Ludwig levels. I'll go over that. It's in that document I posted with everything that I use. So that is a volume event at one of my important areas. Actually, this was a pick too. You had a pick right there, important area. So I missed that trade. And it could be an I lug you if it comes back and retest. So I should have IZZY and pick on here. If this comes back, I will take the pick long too. Profiles encouraged. So it's, what was that price? 19.25. That's pretty close. I don't usually chase them because there's no need, right? There's another event right around the corner. So if that comes back, what's that number? So if that comes back to 19.25, I'll go long pick too. What am I talking about? I'm talking about these trading strategies. So IZZY, take fade trades with moves into prior inflection zones. I showed you that. There was no variations here. No need to go over that. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. And then pick. Profiles encourage. Take any trade that moves into or out of a market profile composite high or low. That's exactly what happened there. And these are the best IZZYs and best picks when you get these straight moves into the areas with the volume event. So I just basically missed the pick. Hold on, I just want to make sure I don't have anything. Okay. So at least I got something on long accordingly. And then there's nothing to do with long off that particular event in ES, so we'll just wait for another event there. Actually, this already verified short anyway, so I thought there was another event down here, was there not? Yeah. Did I X out of the zone? This was another volume event. I just missed it. 502, right? So the great thing about the zone drawer, you can draw it manually too, right? right, so that was sell stops.
That's 11 a.m. Eastern time. We get Kansas
Something
City
like
Fed
that.
Composite Index.
Again, there was nothing
forecast
for me to go long
-5
for
on the
my
prior,
important areas down
-4.
here, but it
Kansas
is
City
important
Fed
to know.
manufacturing prior 0.
that
We also
happening.
expect comments from ECB's Holzman, ECB's Casimir, and ECB's Vucic, who speak
Something like
at
that.
the
Again,
conference
I'm not
in
trading
Vienna.
off of this, so it doesn't mean to be exact right now, but that was a dumb number. What is going on with this thing? Hold on. Zone jar is on the fritz. Not sure
MG
why
short
that's
validated.
happening. Johan, help me. Let's try it one more time. So if you do have that problem with the zone drawing tool, just hit F1 and it'll get you out of the nonsense most of the time. All right. So anyway, that was a bullish event for me. There was nothing down there to go along. We already went over this, right? So again, AK my important areas, right? There was nothing on the pick side. It did bounce off the point of control right back out, and we are close to the red log here, so there might be potential shorts if we get an event. Again, we're approaching an important area. I need to see a volume event. So, but I am long Izzy. And that's ripping off the page. This is a real shocking development for these equities. I can't believe they're bungee jumping like this. Just kidding. It happens every single time. So I just want to see what's going on here. And that did come down to this blue area and bounce off. This is the real-time options fold. This is spot gamma stuff. So that's just quickly. This stuff is all in here. So everything I'm showing you, there's discounts to, right? Discounts to the book map. Just click on that link. Here's Method Q. We'll go over that. We're doing a webinar on Monday. I'll share that information here. It's on the slide. Spot Gamma. Use code Scott. You get 2 weeks for free, and you get everything. You get his commentary, the trace, the hero. So go there. So this is already at least I got on Izzy. This is already a 50-point long. Now I got to see where I'm going to be getting out of some of these. So I pay myself straight out of trading in the zone as the market makes money available to me. Meaning if we hit an important area coming up, and this is right here. So if this struggles right here, you see the top of this, I'm going to get out of one of them. I got 4 on, and I got out of one. Hold on here. You know, if it blows right through, and I can judge. Hold on, that is 128. See how it got quiet here? Hold on, I'll show you what I'm looking at. I'm going to get out of 2 here. Still not solid this right. So you got a couple different things that I get out, areas that I get out. We got a spot gamma level up here, and then you have the market profile composite. So I got out of half my position. See how it's kind of struggling here? This is today's action. And you got VWAP, and you got a lot of traders that fade VWAP like they did the first time up here, right? So another thing you want to watch for is if things are working. So some days the thing just rips around VWAP. It doesn't mean anything. Today it obviously means something, right? Pop there. So I got out some of VWAP, market profile. It's called confluence. Market profile composite and spot gamma low. If it keeps ripping, great. Then I'll be watching red lug. If it comes back, then I got out of half. So I'm fine with that. It's a good trade, 50 points. And I'm long. And you guys heard me saying the entire time that I think the markets are going to get killed, or I thought, and I went long. I didn't go short. Why? Because the volume events said, don't go long, don't go short, go long. And I did. Speaking of longs, I am still long crude. Went long bark, lick. I think it was pick and Izzy. So keep an eye on that. And I am short soybeans, and it's kind of just hanging around here. So what I was getting at earlier, before I get back to the Apex or the trader funding stuff, go to my Twitter. I put this in yesterday. Both markets that I talked about yesterday are starting to do what I thought was going to happen yesterday. It's just it doesn't have to happen that day, and it's just a thesis. But this is a quintessential failed balance breakout, and you built more balance, and then more balance. So it's breaking down out of that guy. It got through that guy and through that guy's high volume node. Soybeans looks like it's going to be free beans for everybody here soon. And then I talked about this exact occurrence happening in crude. Breaking out of balance, right? So go watch the video. I talked about it yesterday. It happened today, right? But I didn't get burned on it because I wasn't getting any bullish setups yesterday. That's the whole point. Now I'm getting bullish setups, and all it did is pull back to this puppy. That looks like that. So go watch that video. I get more into it. It's on my Twitter page. All right, back to this stuff. Hopefully Bruce gets in here, guys. I can't get to the questions right now. I want to get into this first, and then I'll try to look if Bruce isn't in here. Bruce is letting me down, not being in here.
I'm here, Scott. I'm here.
Oh, good. I was actually just kidding. I was taking a drink of water before I said I was kidding.
I don't know about that.
So I kind of went over this stuff. I mean, we'll go over these bullet points too. So what I was telling these guys is, these are a dime a dozen. We already saw one just go under. Fast Track Trading just went under last week.
The US sells $17 billion.
So they're a dime a dozen,
November
but they're
26th,
changing because
7
the
on
upcoming
December
regulation
2nd,
changes.
sell
Because CME
$44
basically
billion
wants their piece of the pie,
notes on
right? So
November
they're going to have to
27th, on December
bring
2nd.
traders live,
US sell 69
and we'll go over their
billion in
Apex
2-year notes
specific
on
rules. I don't know the
November
rules for the other
25th,
ones because
December
those
2nd.
I don't trade those. I trade Apex because it's been very good to me. They've done everything they said they're going to do. So everything I'm talking about today is based on Apex. So this is what I'm talking about. Firms have to be positioned to have their traders live. I'm not sure why that's pink. Sorry. Trading their capital. Just again, anytime, whether it's
US sell
markets
$81 billion
or
in
this
3-month
stuff,
bills on
just think how
November
you would
25th,
react, right?
November
So we talk
29th.
about markets, like
Sell
say you got
$72
long
billion
here, what are you
in
thinking as it
6-month
comes down
bills on
here?
November
Like, oh my
25th,
God,
December
I'm
on
done,
November
right? So,
29th.
or if you're in
Notice
here
the
and you're
Kansas
long
City
and you
Fed
thought you had it and it
manufacturing
doesn't.
-4,
Same thing with
-4,
these prop
and
firms, right?
composite
Imagine you own a
-2,
prop firm.
-2.
You want guys just coming in there. First of all, they've been gamed. There was some hiccup with the bond
IMF
trading where you
spokesperson
can
says
place
it's
markets
early
off
days on
in the
Trump's
sim mode,
economic policies. The IMF
off
assessment
market
will
and get
range of
filled, and they
implications.
got killed that way, right?
will
And it wasn't
assess
just Apex;
Trump's
there was a bunch of them. So the
tariff
point
and
is,
fiscal policies
there's people
as
trying to
they
game the
implement
system. There's
the
people just
impact will
taking
depend on the
shots. They
detail.
get funded for their live account, and they just take a huge shot, and they try to make 10 grand, 20 grand, and if they blow it out, they blow it out. All you're really losing is the funding amount. Right now it's $85. So it's like, hey, I'll take a shot for 20 grand for $85. Well, they don't want that if they're trading the real money. They don't want that anyway. But just think if you're back in a trader and they do that. You're like, get the hell out of here, right? If you go to a real trading firm and you walk in your first day and you put on 300 lots or 300 lot and you lose 50 grand, what do you think they're going to do? Oh, here's another account. Give it another try. No, they say don't ever come back here again, right? On my first day, I lost $2,500. This is 2001 on one lot. I almost got fired that very first day, right? So you can imagine how a real trading firm would handle it, and they want to be a real trading firm. So that's why this stuff's happening. This is another thing. You guys are an incredible time where you have this opportunity to be funded. When I couldn't make money anymore and I was trading my own money, like there were no options. It was like either go to a trading firm, and most trading firms at that time were getting crushed. Just go back and look at the history. That's when the algos were taking over. I'm talking right around 2005 to 2007. I'd say the industry got shrunk to a quarter of the size, right? Perfect example, my trading firm at its height was King Street Trading. It was 70 traders in 2003, 2004. By 2006, late 2006, there were 13 traders left. I was one of them. That was it, right? And then I got knocked out too. So the point is, these algos knocked a lot of these firms out. You have an incredible gift to have these options now where you don't have to risk your own money. Anybody who's traded their own money where you're trying to live on and pay your mortgage, pay your car payment, feed your family, you kind of make different decisions, right? You're not as free, what's the word I'm looking for? Freewheeling, like this might come back all the way. It's all right. I'm okay with it. No, you're like, oh my God, I've got $3,000 in profit. I can't let this come back. I can't pay my mortgage. It's a whole different ballgame when you're trading your own money, right? So just an incredible gift to have the opportunity, but you want to latch on to one that is legit, right? And again, the one that I back is Apex. Do your research. If you find one that's better, that's great. If you think it's better and they have better rules, but I'm telling you, most of them are going to have more stringent rules because they have to, because they can't be risking millions of dollars in traders that are just, flinging around size trying to get lucky with a lotto ticket. And then this is what I was talking about. Apex has set the standard for funding, including better rules, later in payouts, etc. And whether you like it or not, whether these other firms, I hate to mention names, I mentioned a couple of them today, but whether they like it or not, I know firsthand that they had to change the rules once Apex came on board, right? So again, that's the one I back. So this is their payouts. I already showed you that stuff. So these are the ones that I do, right? And we'll go over these. So I have one assigned to each one of these strategies. We'll go over these. But I was using the 150, and then they had some deal for the 250. So I got mainly these two. So how does this work? So this is where it gets difficult, right? But it teaches you to manage risk. So for instance, you do the 150. You got to make $9,000 before you lose $5. That seems simple enough, right? Well, there's more to it, and I can't tell you how many profitable accounts I have blown out that were still profitable that came back. Meaning, profit goes $9,000. I get up to say $8,500, right? and then just typical trading because you have drawdowns. And if you get up to $8,500 and you pull back 5,000, you're still up $3,500. You lose the account, right? I know that that is it's not fun, and again, this is their all of them do this, right, in one way or another, but it does teach you to protect your risk, right, and not have these huge drawdowns, because when you're trading real money, they don't want, and we're going to get into this, one of the new rules, they don't want you pulling back $9,000, right? So this teaches you, okay, I can't pull back more than 5. It happens all the time. It's happened to me at least 20 or 30 times that I'm profitable on these accounts that I pull back. If you're going to trade their stuff, their money, get funded by them, then you've got to trade the rules. It goes for any of them. If you don't want to follow those rules, fund your own account with 150 grand. You can do whatever you want. Risk it all in one trade. It doesn't matter. It's your money, right? But that's the rules. So for the 250, you got to make 15 grand before you lose 65. You saying something, Bruce?
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering, like, after you lost a few of those profitable accounts, did you modify your trading and only for using these funded trader programs?
I didn't really modify my trading. A lot of the times it's because anybody who's watched my webinars or in my trade room, they see it all the time. That's why I'm using Apex for these things, because I learned the hard way. So if you guys remember when I first did, Bruce too, when I was doing Bookmap webinars for pretty much 8 years now, I was trading my own accounts, right? So I had my own account set up to this thing, and then I would trade, and then I would, I'm in the middle of doing things, and you already saw me miss a trade in NASDAQ. Well, not only would I miss trades, by the way, I can trail my stop to this most recent event that just happened in NASDAQ. So remember, I'm long, I'm trailing my stop to that. So now my stop was way down here for this guy, right? It was at 456. Now I get to bring it all the way up to 650, 100 point plus, or close to 100 points because of a new event. So let me trail that real quick, and then I'll get into it. But a lot of the blown accounts that were, I had profitable that I gave back is because of mistakes, right? So I'll forget that I have a stop order in the order book, or I'll forget I have a position on because I'm doing something else, right? It gets very, 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 very costly, and I got sick of just dropping thousands and thousands of dollars because I'm educating, and I like to educate. It actually keeps me grounded, and I love to teach people how to fight back against the man, because that's what you're doing. This is a zero-sum game. You are trying to beat this person in here right now that's trying to whipsaw you to death. That's who you're trading against, and if you think they're not in here to take your money, you're mistaken, right? So the point is, I got sick of throwing away money because my money that I'm living on, right, and I'm not $1 million trader anymore. I'm hoping to be. Again, I will be, but the point is, I don't have, I can't just drop 20 grand because I made a mistake. So that's one of the reasons I started using these funded, the Apex. But to your point, Bruce, is I didn't really change my strategy because it doesn't kill you if you blow out of one, right? But what you can do, if you get to $8,500, what you should do is cut your size down, right? And say, okay, now I only have to make $500 versus $5,000. Okay, I was trading 10 lots. Now I'm going to trade 1 lot because I just got to make $500. So that's one of the strategies involved in knowing, okay, I only have to make 500 versus 5,000. So a lot of times I'd be close and I wasn't monitoring it, and then I would just be trading normal size, and I'd look and I'd drop 4 grand on the day. I'm like, what am I doing? I had $500 left and I was trading a 10 lot, right? So that's part of it. That's part of the strategy. Once you get close to these levels, you don't want to be trading full size if you just got to make a couple $100. Go down to a couple micros and then make $500 and then you're funded. But yeah, I mean, some of it was mistakes. Some of it was not paying it, or as far as just leaving stuff in the order book, so on and so forth. Other was where I just didn't realize where I was, I should say. But yeah, I mean, you definitely want to change your strategy as you get close to the funding amount, right? And then also here, guys, any account, any sale they've got going on, put in Pulcini 50, and you'll get whatever discount. Right now they got the right here, they got the 80% off, and then the 85. So if you qualify, all you got to do, once you qualify, you pay $85, and then you have whatever account. So here's another thing you need to realize too. This is one thing I do not like about the industry at all. Starting capital $150,000. When I see $150,000, that tells me I can trade till I lose $150,000, right? I mean, that's how I would think about it. If I was trading my own account, I have $150,000 in there. In my mind, I can lose $150,000. It's not $150,000. It's $5,000, right? Because that's all you can lose before you blow out of the account. So that's the one thing, and they all do it. I don't know why. It's not a $150,000 account where you can lose 150 grand. You can lose 5 grand. It's a big difference when you're sizing your account. So you can't trade your size to 150. You have to trade your size to 5,000. Because if you trade your size to 150 grand, you're going to lose $5,000 in about 4 seconds if you're wrong, right? So realize that when you do it, the trailing threshold is the amount of the account, right? So it's $6,500 for the 250. It's not 250. It's not 150. It's 5,000, 6,500. So what they do allow is Apex. Again, everything I'm referring to is Apex. I don't know about these other ones. You guys do your research. I've tried them in the past. Again, this is my favorite one. Another thing you can do is they allow up to 20 of them. So you can get 20 of these, and then you just time that. Now you do have a $100,000 account, and then you do the trade copier. Speaking of which, Bruce, is that ready? Because we never talked about it. I'm very interested in using that. Do you guys have that going? Because Bookmap was going to have that, right?
Yeah. The multi-account.
It's up and running.
It's running, baby.
See, always last to know. See, I have absolutely no pull with you guys.
I let you know it is in beta, and
Well,
it still is in beta. But, anyway, I'll be happy to go over to your room and demo.
yeah,
it,
let's
for
do
you
it
guys.
next week. Actually, your penalties, you got to
Sure.
do it Thanksgiving Day. You got to do it 5
Oh,
o'clock
God.
Thanksgiving night. But anyway, yeah,
All
so
right,
they have the
well,
trade copier, right? So that's where you can hook up 20 accounts if you want to do it. But just know it's 5,000, not 150,000, right? Or 6,500. Or you can do the smaller one, 3,000. It's not 100,000, it's 3,000. So you size yourself to this amount, right? All right, so this is my current data here. I did this last night. So I was talking about these strategies, right? Here are all my strategies.
Validated.
So what you need to know about a lot of these is, let's see here, get out of this mode. So this is what I'm talking about. So these are the initials for the strategies, right? Slug, lick, so I don't have to say liquidity trade every time. Inflections, it's Izzy, bark, pick, right? So this is what I've been talking about all day today, right? So these are my accounts here. And you can see some of them have been going for a long time. Other ones are brand new. So there's a couple reasons for this. Some of them I have, like I said, I haven't blown out that many, like flat out blown out, lose the $5,000, but I've been up the 8,500 giving it back. The other thing you do, here's another trick, right? So you guys got to remember, I don't pull any tricks. I'm not trying to game the system. I trade these things just like I would trade a real money account, right? So meaning I'm only trading, and you can see here, this is in the sizing, right? So this is the $150,000 account. It's not it's not $150,000. It's $5,000, right? So that's why. So this is part of the zone drawing tool too. You can put your capital in here. I'm risking 10% on these accounts because they're just the tryout accounts. That's too much to be risky. But even at 10%, meaning I'm risking $500 a trade, right? So even at $500 a trade, you can see some of these have been going forever, right? Not forever, but it feels like forever, like 47 days, 50 days, 21 days, 24 days, 25 days, right? So this may not look like a lot, right? So you're like, oh, big deal. You're up 4 grand. You're up 5 grand, 60. It is a big deal when you're talking each one of these, at least for these are the 150, these are $5,000 a count. So this is over 100% return. That's 100% return. 100% return, right? So you got to look at it percentage-wise, right? So when you add all these up, so before I get into that, some of these are short days. Well, one, this is the trick I was talking about. It's not a trick. If you come up to, so say you go and you buy an evaluation account today, right? Well, if you are hovering around 0 when it renews every month, right? So let's go to there. Let's go here, right? So if you go, so it's not 297 right now. Here, let's just do this real quick, just to show you guys. All right, sign up. Go over here. Right, say I want to do this thing used to whip around. Just say I want to do the 100 grand, right? So that's 207. It's not 207. It's not hard to figure out 80%, right? But you figure all this stuff out. You put in the coupon code, right? Pulcini 50, and it gives you 80% off. So whatever 80% of 200 is, what's that, 160? So it's $40, $47, whatever it comes out to, right? So that's what you're paying. The point is, every month it renews for $47. Well, the tip or trick for that one, you're not gaming the system. You're going to renew. So say in this account, so like this one right here, I got to see when this, speaking of which, right? So this one's down $1,500, right? Even if it was like close to even or just up to $500, or this one, when it comes to time to renew, say it's tomorrow. Well, I know I'm going to get charged at $47. I can literally just cancel it out and just pay another $47, get a brand new one, right? So what I do is when it comes up, if I'm hovering around zero, I'll fire on them to try to get them up to a decent amount, so it's worth keeping. If not, if you blow it out, big deal. You blow it out and just get a new one the next day, right? Because it's going to renew anyway. So that's the one trick you can do when it comes up for renewal, right? So some of these, that's what I did. Like it was hanging around zero, like these ones I just restarted because it was hanging around zero. I fired, blew them out, on to the next one, right? So other ones I've been working. These are legitimate, like just build up, and your P&L as a trader is going to look like that, right? It's not going to be like that unless you risk it all in one trade. So it takes time to build it, even at 10%. This is 10%. It takes time to build up. So what I'm getting at is when you add all of these up, the 5,000. Remember, I count these as $5,000 or $6,500 accounts. They're not $250 or $150. So when you add all this up, let's see. I thought I had this in here. Hold on, I'll show you guys. I have it on my screenshot here. You got questions? Throw them into Bruce. Let me cover this and I'll answer anything. So I was going to show you guys right here. Right. So when you add all these up, and I have not been doing well lately either. I've been having a drawdown. It's been a very tough trade, right? The point is, I've got five $150,000 accounts, but they're not 150. They're 5,000, right? That's $25,000 in base capital, right? And then I have 11 of the 250. That comes out to $96,500 in capital. You can do this live and have this many, and you would be back for $96,500, right? And this is me taking the realistic amount, not the profit amount, not the nonsense 150, 250 accounts. So the point is, on that 96.5, I've made, counting $35,000, right? Doesn't seem like a lot. I'm only risking $500 a trade, right? So that is a 37% return on investment. Trust me, I go out to the real world and I, as a fund manager, and say I can make you 37%, I would have people running through my door to get in, right? That's 71R. So I'm risking $500 when you make that amount. You made 71R is pretty damn good, right? And I've had a drawdown. So the point is, if you look at it realistically, yeah, these don't look like huge profit, but when you add them all up and you realize they're really only $5,000 accounts or $6,500 accounts, this is a good profit. So these are all the strategies here. All right, so any questions on that or any of this, Bruce, before I get into the new Apex rules stuff, because people are very confused on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, really, the Q&A here, it looks mostly about just some kind of a banter about the different programs and the drawdowns,
Order filled.
how things have changed a bit. And if anyone doesn't in Discord doesn't have access to, I cannot see your presentation, Scott. You'll have to jump over to the YouTube just to let everybody know.
You can't see what? I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Just continue doing what you're doing.
All right, let me. You said you can't see YouTube. Let me just jump on there real quick.
No, YouTube is fine. YouTube is fine. Please, okay. don't touch any of the controls, Scott.
No, I'm not. I was gonna go through the web. Come on, Bruce. You act like I'm illiterate when it comes to technology or something. Oh wait, I am.
No. It's just in Discord, it's not displaying,
my screen's not displaying.
Dan, don't worry about it, Scott. We're almost we're kind of wrapping up here anyway. So, but it's fine. People can get access.
Yeah, because I can see it. I can see it on my Discord.
It's a weird thing. We think it's due to an update.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. And in terms of questions, like it looks like we are we're good here. It's really questions about some of these programs, how they changed, which you're about to go over as well. You said.
Say that again. I'm sorry. I was reading one of the questions.
You were about to go over that as well, like how some of these the rules have changed.
Right. So I do see one in here at the last one. What do I think of the static accounts? I have not done the static account, so I can't speak to it.
It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Could be good.
US
I don't know. I haven't done it. I just do these regular accounts. Right. So according to the new rules, and I do want to address this. See, this trader Scott, I'm with you 100%. But the main reason that there are so many problems in this industry was Apex, and they did not set the standard. They absolutely did set the standard. If you go back, trust me, I saw it firsthand. With all their 20 accounts, they allowed 90%. Their 20 accounts allowed, and 90% of they killed everything. I don't understand that, guys. Trust me. If Apex wasn't, I say this every time, or any of these trading firms, right? That's why one just went under, because they weren't paying people. If they're not paying people, you're going to find out in about 2 seconds. And I'm talking not a couple disgruntled traders that don't understand the rules like this. I'm talking thousands of traders, because that's what they have. You're going to know about 2 seconds if something happened, right? Again, I don't own the company. I put this, that's the one I use. I put my name behind it. If they go down, then I got to eat crow, right? But I mean, I've been using it for 2.5 years, right? So anyway, so these are the new rules that you guys might understand better if I explain it the way I understand it, right? So this is the 30%, right? So when you're making you're trading and you're profitable, you can't have one single day that's more than 30% of your P&L. You can, don't get me wrong. So I just saw someone on Facebook yesterday. It's just amazing how dumb some people are, right? I don't mean to offend anyone, but there are some, God loves stupid people too, right? And I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed either, but it doesn't mean you can't make more than 30% in a day. You don't have to shut down if you, so if your total P&L, it doesn't mean you can make 80% in a day if you want of your profit target, what I'm talking about, right? So let's go back to this. The 90%, so you need to make $9,000 for the $150,000, right? So say one day you make $4,500 in one trading day, right? So you're halfway to your goal. Well, that they don't want you to have a windfall and just basically get lucky one day, right? And you can close your eyes and put on a winning trade and make $4,500 if you have enough size, so on and so forth. That doesn't mean you can't have that day. It means if you have that day, you have to times it times 3 to find out what your new profit goal is, right? So it's originally $9,000. So if any of your days are less than $3,000, you're good to go, right? I mean, you're still good to go even if you make $4,500. But the point is, it's supposed to be $9,000. If you have a windfall day or huge day, say it's $4,500, which is 50%. That's too much. You need to make sure all you do is it times 3, 30%. That puts you at, what is that? 13,500. That's your new profit goal to make sure this day is not over 30%. That's all it means. So now you have to make 13.5 to make sure this day wasn't more than 30% of your big days. They're doing that for a reason, so they don't just have traders coming in here, getting lucky on one trade, getting paid out, blowing the count the next day, and then they're out all this money. Like, guys, just please think of it. They've got to go live. They're going live here in the next few months. All of them are. They have to. They're trying to protect themselves from getting smoked. There's so many people trying to game the system. That's all it means. So whatever your biggest day is, no matter what account you're trading, again, this is based on the 150,000 account. It's $9,000. If your biggest day is $7,000, if you have one day you make $7,000, great. Doesn't mean you can't make $7,000. It means now you times it times 3. Now you got to make $21,000 to make sure this one single day wasn't more than 30% of your P&L. So hopefully that makes sense, right? It is confusing the way that they explain it. Even when he was on here, that's what I was doing these screenshots, right? It makes it very confusing sometimes. So it's good to hear from another view, another explanation. That's how I interpret it, and that's what it is, right? So just whatever your biggest day is, times it times 3, and that's what you got to make before you're funded to get the funded account. Again, these are on the tryout accounts, right? I mean, on the once you're funded to get paid, I should say. You can do anything you want. On the evaluation accounts, you could basically do whatever you want, right? And you're funded, then you're trading real money, and it's going to be real money, and then you got to follow these rules, right? Black and white, a time of payout request, just not have a single trade day over 30%. If you do, just times it times your biggest day times 3, and that's what you got to make before you get paid. Is that clear? Anybody have questions on that? Not a big a deal because they have more, and you don't have to withdraw. You don't have certain days of the month you can withdraw. You can withdraw at any time now too. It's right here. Simply trade a few more days until you can get your P&L up higher. Same day with safety net, a little short does not put you up to the range, whatever that means. Do not go backwards, only forwards. Reset approved. So once you're approved, you don't have to worry about that big day. Say you have another windfall day, well, that starts towards your next withdrawal. That's all I mean.
Time, the US sells
Any
$99
questions, put them in
billion
there.
in forward bills.
Again, I took this right off of his webinar. By the way, I'm still long.
2.77.
Never got short. And I'm still long. And I never stopped out, right? I allow these value events to tell me when to get out. I already got out of half. Let's see. This might be red lug, though. Let's check here. I think it is. I should have been onto these. So lugwood levels. We haven't had a chance to get into all the trading stuff today. I tried the best to cover. But I have certain areas where I will get out. And you see we're right at the lug. I'm out. Right? So it's struggling here. I'm out. All right. Great. That was a good trade. That was a 100-point trade almost. I got out of half at VWAP and the top of this market profile composite. Now you're at another market profile composite low and red lug. All right, back to this stuff. So these are some of the stuff, the new Apex stuff. No more request periods, meaning you had like between the 1st and the 5th to the 15th to the 20th, you can request it anytime now. Now you need 8 trading days to qualify. You got to trade at least 8 days instead of 10. You have to have $50 profit. That doesn't mean any big deal. You have to have profit or you're not going to get to the payout anyway. You get approval from 48 hours, funds within 3 to 4 business days. So this is what I wanted to show you guys too. So again, I've been paid multiple times from the guys. I was going to show you some of my certificates. I couldn't find them just to make funnies. But this is my trading room, right? You can see here. Sorry, that's Launchpass. Right here. All right, so these guys, there's other guys too. Like for instance, Lance was trading. He's one of the top traders in the room. He hasn't been there for a while because he's made so much money. He's doing whatever he's doing now. But he turned 100 grand into 1.25 million last year, and he was trading his own money. He didn't need the Apex stuff, which is fine. But the point is, there's other traders. I'm sure they're making money too. These are the ones that share. So here we go. Apex paid. Right, took out 2 grand there. Another dude here.
short entered.
Another couple guys. I may have deleted him on accident because you can only pin 50 messages. Wait, is this in here? This is a guy bucking fun. And I thought KFC's been paid a couple times. Anyway, that was in here too. I must have deleted it. But anyway, my point is they pay you guys. You know, again, I'm not going to back something that is not legit. All right, so is this? We already talked about that. And then, all right, so this is the new one too, right? Again, they're protecting themselves for when you're real live. This is for one trade. So we just talked about I'm risking 10% on a trade, and that's too much. They're saying you can't pull back on your positive P&L more than 30%. That is a ton. You would never do that with your own money. You put 100 grand in an account, you're going to risk $30,000 in a trade. You're not doing it, right? And they don't want you to do it with their money either. So meaning, if you're up 5 grand profit, right? If up until you're profitable, you just use whatever their pullback number is, right? So meaning, if your drawdown is is actually a good example. It's 5 grand times that times 30. You cannot risk more than $1,500 on a single trade. That's it. You don't want to be risking 30% of real money anyway. You're out of your mind. Yeah, on the practice accounts, risk it all. It doesn't matter. Once you get into real money territory, just don't risk 30%. I just got done saying if you're trading your own account, if you're risking more than 2% on a trade, you're going to have a day where you blow out your account. If you're risking like 5, 10, even 10, like I'm doing on the Apex accounts that I just talked about. This is saying 30%. Just don't risk 30% of whatever you're up. If you're up 10 grand, don't risk more than 3,000. And it's not in a day, it's just a single trade. Very simple when you understand like what they're talking about. Again, he makes it a little hard to understand when I even listen to him, but that's what it is.
Bill auction, I'll lead with the high yield.
This stuff you can all go on and watch the video. This is all have contracts. It's not a big deal, especially for the size you're trading. You're never going to have full size on trading real money. I mean, as far as what they're offering you, I think you can put on like 15 big ones. Well, if you have a $5,000 account, you're not going to put on a 15 lot. You're going to, the market moves against you a couple points, you're going to lose 5 grand, right? So you guys can, watch the video. Again, this is like a 45-minute video. I tried to take the most important parts that people are confused about. All right, and then quickly, this is Mentor Q. This is another options thing I'm using here. Awesome. You get, some of these levels are too much. You can take them on and off or doing a webinar. This is on that, actually let me post this in the, Actually, Dan, if you could post this, I'm going to post this in the YouTube room. I mean, in the Discord room. If you can share it, I would appreciate it. Go to my site too, so I'll post both of these. This is the discount.
Entry long
I
validated.
want that. Hold on here. I don't know how to copy this. Hold on. Alrighty. I don't know how I copy this link. There we go. There. Whoops. Let's try this. Sorry, guys. So we're doing a webinar on Monday too, but I'll put this in the room. Dan, if you could share it, that'd be tremendous. Or actually, I could do it right in here. So that's for the webinar on Monday. It's going to be at 12 Central. And then this is for the 50% off. But this is incredible. I use Spot Gamma. I love Spot Gamma. They got the real-time stuff. This is stuff more in the morning, but you get them. Spot Gamma only has like ESNQ. They have stocks, but they don't have these other futures. This is you can see it. Like, look at crude today. Look what it keeps bouncing off of. These options levels. Why? Because dealers have to hedge here. So you want to know where these levels are for profit, to take trades. We have a new trade called Sexy Gexy. I have a bunch, we're taking trades off of these now too. I need a volume event. I don't trade these naked, but the point is that you can see that bounced off of that level. It's trying to get through. I put up USO here too. This is another great thing. You can bring in other products onto here as far as their options. It's struggling here right now, which sucks because I'm long and now it's pulling back here on me. Hold on here. This is what I was long here. I'm still not stopped out, but this is coming back. You can see that's right where that bounced. It's good to know these areas. You got crude, gold.
Short validated.
You can see gold struggling at 0 DTE, gamma wall, natural gas. Natural gas is just off the charts. So it also tells you someone if it rips right through. The main thing, and I talk about this in my trade room, and I'll talk about it more and more on the Bookmap webinars on Thursdays. You don't want to just fade these levels. One, you want to see a volume event, but even if you see a volume event and you're seeing heavy relative volume, be careful because the options dealers are a big player in the market. They're not the only player, right? So just be careful. Coming right around.
4.53%, 4.5.
All right, any quick questions here,
ratio,
Bruce?
2.68,
Sorry, I went over a little bit.
2.68. So the US sells $95 billion in 4-week bills and awards 82.25%.
Quick question on, does Apex still allow the one-day pass?
I think they changed that. I think it's you got to trade 8 days now.
Okay.
That you guys, this all stuff you can find out in 2 seconds. Literally, just go to their website. They have a FAQ section, right? Just go here and hit FAQ, and I just covered the most confusing ones, the main issues. But they got right here FAQ. Type in whatever you want to know. Days. Let's try days to pass. We'll see if that happens, or that gives me. All right, I don't have time to read all this, but that's how you do it. Just go to their FAQs. Anything else, Bruce?
Okay. No, I think we're good.
Okay, Dune Runner said, and Dune Runner is one of the top traders in my room, so he knows what he's talking about. He said it's still 1 day. So I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's the pass. I'm sorry. It's 8 days to get paid when you go live. So when you get a funded account, you got to trade for 8 days. Yeah, for the evals, it's 1 day, right? So you can go ape shit, as my grandpa used to say, and trade whatever you want. You can trade. The other thing too is don't have opposing positions on, right? And we do have opposing position type trades in my room. We have 2 different trading strategies. We have, and that's part of the zone drawing tool. We have position trading and we have reversion trading. Reversion is more of a scalp. So for instance, we take these trades when they hit these ATRs. It's just unbelievable how often these markets hit these ATR, and this is what these lines are. This is the pro drawing tool. You can get at the Bookmap Marketplace. When it hits this, it'll come back. It hits the 2, it comes back. We have different trades. We have backdoor, so on and so forth. So there is a way, right, where you can, like right now, I got out of my long, but I can be long one account, and I can take a reversion trade when I'm short another one. That's fine to do on the eval accounts. Do not do that on the PA accounts, the live accounts, because you're trading opposing. That's just gaming the system. They don't want to see that, right? Because you can put on one long, one short. One loses, the other one's a huge winner, and one stops out, and the other one's a huge winner. And then there's a way you can game the system, right? So the point is, if you're going to do that, then just use. If you do go live, just use another trading funded company then, right? So use Top Step for your reversion trades, use Apex for your position trades, or whatever. There's a way around it, but just know you can do that on the eval counts. They're not going to. There's no way they monitor all. I'm not telling you to break the rules, but you're not very likely not going to, if you're trading both ways, or if you're long NQ and short ES, they're not going to say anything very likely, right? I don't quote me on that, but they've got tens of thousands of customers. Once you go live, you don't want to do that because you're going to lose the account. Just like if you're at a trading firm and you do that, they're going to say, "What in the hell are you doing?" So, for instance, this is already looking like it's going to be a 1 ATR comeback. All right, any other questions, Bruce?
No, I think we're good, Scott.
Okay, hopefully I covered everything. I went over things pretty quickly, and I wanted to go over the structure stuff too. These markets did do a bungee jump, and this is pretty surprising that it made it this far up, to tell you the truth. So they held where they should have held. We talked about this, right? That held exactly, this is ES, where it should have held before it went to hell, right? So it looks like new highs again. The old bungee jump comes through again. But anyway, I wanted to go through that stuff so I can show. But I go through this every day, guys. I trade live every day in my trade room. Come on over. And then for the Apex, use Pulcini 50 for any of the sales. And come to that Mentor Q webinar on Monday. The guy's a smart dude. All these options guys are smart guys. So is Brett from Spot Gamma. But again, I like this because you get these options levels for these other futures products, right? Very, very important areas that you can use for profit taking, so on and so forth. All right, that's all I got, Bruce.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Scott. I mean, really good stuff. I know you've been, an expert in using some of these new. Well, they're not so new anymore, but these accounts, you were into it early on. So really great to hear your tips and tricks and how you're doing it, and really helpful for everybody.
Yeah, I hope I explained at least the new rules. It's not difficult, and you just guys got to respect. If it's someone else's money, you got to respect it. If you don't like it, then put $100,000 in your own account and trade it. Right, like that's your option. But like I said, the number one thing is, guys, you have no idea what an incredible opportunity you have, a gift to have these funding options now. Right? There was nothing like that when I was, when I got knocked out. It was trade my own money. And like I said, then I already got knocked out of the trading firm. I'm not backed by them anymore. I'm still not sure. I'm trying to come up with a new way to trade, right? This is another great thing if you're practicing. Say you come in my room, practice, not a game, practice, and you want to learn how to do this. Don't be risking your own money. Get an eval account and practice and learn for yourself what an edge it is, and then you're funded and you're ready to go. And even if you're not, if you do well, say, okay, I know this stuff works. I'm going to open my own account. Great. The point is, don't risk your own money while you're learning something, right? So that's another huge advantage of this stuff. By the way, here's your 1 ATR retest. It's almost like it happens nonstop. All right, that's all I got. So next, obviously no webinar next Thursday. It's Thanksgiving, except for Bruce has to actually get on because he, I forgot what you did wrong, but you got to get on that webinar.
I did something wrong. I don't know. Always.
Oh, you didn't tell me about the trade copier. Yeah, so we'll see you.
Yeah.
We're just going to do a private webinar, you and I, 5 o'clock Thursday, next Thursday.
Right at dinner time with it. Okay, a turkey leg in my mouth. All right.
All right, so we'll do one for my room here. Maybe we'll share it for the general public too. It's up to you on how to use the trade copier, because I really want to know how to do that for myself too.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Awesome. All right, well, thanks for having me. You guys got questions, you can email me. You got my website and everything else. Thank you, though.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Friars ES short.